Alright, in this video I just want to go over JUnit testing. For this class you guys are all required to write thorough and proper testing for your assignments. So I just want to talk to you guys about the mindset you should approach when doing testing and how you should write your tests. For an example, I'm just going to write a program that we would have seen for the first lab that we had. So basically doing operations on a list or a collection. So let's just say I want to create a function that will add 1 to every number in an array list of integers. So let me import some classes real quick. Now let's just create a method called add 1 to all. And it'll take in an array list of integers, call it list. So I'll write this up real quick. Alright, there we go. So this should work. Should add 1 to every element in the array list and then return that array list. So now I want to make sure I test to make sure that does work the way I intended. So first we'll create a test. Make sure it says JUnit 5, and I want to test this particular method right now. Test right now. And so let's write a test. The very first test I like to do tends to be pretty simple. It's just kind of expected input and then I give an expected output. So this is just very generic input, not really an edge case. It's pretty normal input. So let's call it input 1. I'll have to do that. I'll do that later. Okay. So let's just have, we have a list of list 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All of these. There we go. Okay. And expected output would be fairly simple. Actually, I'm just going to do this. And let's call it, this would be 2, 3, 4. Okay. And I have to change this to, let's call it answer 1. So to do the test, we would just do assert equals and make sure that our expected, which is the first input, so expected, is equal to our actual answer. Let's run our function on it. Call this input 1. So we would run a test on this. Now for a simple method like this, you would think, okay, well that's all I need to do and it works the way I intended, but generally speaking, you want to test all the edge cases. So does this work on, for example, an empty list? Let's try that. This, and okay, there we go. So input 2 like that, and we also have answer 2 as well. So, right, and we'll make sure that this works like we intended. We run this. Awesome, it works. So we don't have any weird response from giving an empty list. And I mean, right here would be a good place to stop, but let's just, for the sake of showing you guys how to do proper testing, let's also try negative integers. Maybe negative numbers don't work. So let's go here. Let's do this instead. So let's say I want to replace all of the numbers are negative with, let's see, if I do this again. There we go. So we want to change all the numbers to negatives and see if this still works the way we anticipate. And we'll call it input 3 here. Right here, probably just run the same command. Go. All right. So this is actually, well, we got to actually change these to 0, 1, 2, 3. There we go. Okay. So make sure this works on the negative input. Let's try running this now. Awesome, so it still works perfectly fine. Now, some of you may think that this seems kind of unnecessary, like why bother doing negative numbers when really adding 1 to a positive number or adding 1 to a negative number, there's no particular difference in the way they do it. It should work. If it works for positive, it should work for negative. But that's the thing about bugs, is that bugs aren't expected. You're not supposed to be able to, if a bug's expected, then you can fix it really easily. The meanest bugs are the ones that you don't expect. So because of that, you want to test all your edge cases. Your test cases aren't really judged based on the quantity of tests. So it doesn't matter if you do 20 tests if all of them are basically this test here. So if I just did this test and I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I ran it again on 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and just kept doing that, these test cases aren't actually doing anything. Maybe you could add duplicates. Maybe the duplicates will change something, or you can add null values or just anything. But each test case has to be qualitatively different from the other one, right? So this one is different. Input 2 is different because it's empty. Input 3 is different because it's all negative numbers. So you can write a good amount, a few tests that covered edge cases, and you don't have to write that many, and we will give you full credit for those tests instead of trying to write a bunch of them and where you just change maybe one number or change one value. I think that's really all I wanted to show in this video. So yeah, this is just how you should write tests, and hopefully this helped you guys out a bit in understanding what our expectations for your test cases are.